What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Lagged Out Podcast, episode 67. And this episode, we are talking about ads in gaming because apparently Xbox and PlayStation are going to potentially start adding real ads, like marketing ads, in free-to-play games and maybe even more games in on their consoles. So today, I'm just going to talk about this today. You'll see that Joe is not here. Joe has been feeling under the weather, so hopefully Joe will be back next week. But today, I'm just going to talk about this briefly, and it will be a little bit of a shorter podcast. Last week, there was reported that Microsoft may start incorporating ads into free-to-play games on the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S. And then PlayStation or Sony may also do the same thing with PlayStation games on the PS5 and PS4. I'm looking at the website article on tomsguide.com. I'll link it in the description. But essentially, a lot of people were really upset about this. I think that is a very justified reaction to this. To me, I'm like, what? Like ads in video games? Because you don't really think about that. When you're playing a game, say you're playing Call of Duty, say you're playing, World of Warcraft, say you're playing Apex Legends, like you're in the middle of a game, there's not like an ad up in the top right of the screen or in the bottom right of the screen that's telling you to skip this, because if you don't skip this, you're going to have 30 seconds here of some really bad mobile game that's going to pop up. And I'm not saying that that's going to be the type of ads that we're going to be getting, but that is something that a lot of people think of, I think, when they hear games are going to have ads in them, possibly. And so, what do I think about this? Personally, I just am kind of tired of the monetization in gaming. I'm tired of microtransactions. I'm tired of companies just trying to sell out to get the most money they can out of a consumer and not actually make good games. So I'm not too thrilled about this. I really hope this doesn't happen from what I'm understanding for it. But something that the article on this from tomsguide.com has is they say the companies argue that this will allow free-to-play developers a powerful revenue stream, letting them to develop more interesting content without being quite so reliant on microtransactions. It could be good for an up-and-coming dev as well as gamers who don't have a whole lot of money to spend. So talking about that, it really does pique my interest because I just said, I don't want there to be more things like microtransactions, right? So that is actually a very interesting point. And it brings me to the conclusion of that if they do this and they put ads in free-to-play games. So that free-to-play games would be Call of Duty Warzone, Apex Legends, Fortnite, Warframe, possibly. Like, I'm not saying they're going to put them in these games. They're probably going to be smaller games, but I'm just saying essentially, just imagine if you had them in those kind of games. Those are free-to-play games. What that would do is possibly allow them not to sell as much stuff in the shop. So for me, when I hear that, I'm kind of like, man, I'm kind of torn now. I still don't think it's something they should do. But when I hear that, it makes me feel like, wow, if they can stop using microtransactions, that would be awesome. Because for me, microtransactions are one of the worst things for gaming. It's one of the things that takes away from really just your gaming experience. You don't really get, you don't really earn the stuff in your games anymore a lot of times. You can for certain games, but for a lot of MMOs, it's not like that anymore. You have to buy cosmetics. You have, the coolest stuff is usually in the cash shop. And so for me, I personally would love there to not be any microtransactions. So if that happened, I think that would be really awesome. But the chances of that happening, I think are very slim because these companies make so much money off microtransactions. But personally, if it brought less microtransactions, I would be more willing to accept having ads in the game. Now, they're saying that, they mentioned in this article, Tom's Guide, that you see a ton of ads every day, between 6 to 10,000 or something. PPC Protect estimates this, which is kind of insane. And they make a lot of good points. You see them on your products. You see them on your way to work. You see them on your phone, on social apps. You see them in streaming apps. You see them, for multiple other things, right? And they also bring up the point in this article that ads have been in gaming before. They said that, to be fair, gaming, this is quote, "To be fair, gaming and advertising have gone hand in hand for a while. In-game advertisements for products were present as early as 1983, where arcade gamers could observe a big Budweiser logo in the background of Tapper." There's also some other things as well. It says, "I will begrudgingly admit that situations like this can sometimes work in a game's favor. One of my favorite franchises, the Yakuza series, incorporates extensive in-game advertising as you explore Tokyo in each game. You can shop at real-world stores, eat at real-world chain restaurants, and drink real-world coffee, tea, soda, and alcohol." So that is interesting, because in some games that is true. And they said in this article, quote, "In a best case scenario, ads in free-to-play PlayStation and Xbox games would look like this. They would be unobtrusive parts of the world, fitting in exactly where they're supposed to, and introducing players to interesting products that they might not know about otherwise. However, there's not much reason to believe that this would happen. If you need evidence, simply look at the scads of free-to-play shovelware games on Android and iOS, how they handle advertisements. Annoying pop-ups, unskippable videos, tedious links for bonus currency are all the order of the day." End quote. So that is a great point, because in the best case scenario, we would love it to just be like something on the side that you don't really see much. It's very, it's not something very, impeding on your life, I guess. But realistically, do we really think that that's what it would do, or what it would be if they added these in games? Because you all know these companies. I mean, a lot of people work for big companies. They work for big corporations. You guys see the advertising. I mean, it's ridiculous, guys. Like, there is so much just ridiculous amounts of companies trying to vie for your attention, your dollar. They want your dollar, and they want your attention. And they'll do anything to do that. They'll break your privacy. They'll do a lot of different things to market to you and to get you to spend money. And I think it's naive to think that if they do add these adverts in games, they're not going to be very nonchalant kind of ads. I think they are going to be impeding on your gameplay, especially if it's a free-to-play game and it's telling developers they shouldn't rely on microtransactions, right? So how much do I think it will impede? Do I think that this is, what's going to happen? Personally, I do think that they will somehow try to abuse that because they want to make as much money as possible. But I am going to hopefully have faith that it is not like that. And I really hope that this is not something that they do ever. I really hope that this is a thing that never passes and never happens, because people don't want to see ads in games. I mean, think about it. Like, think about all the things that you do in your life now. Everything has an ad in it for the most part. It talks about that in the tomsguide.com article. Literally everything you do. It didn't used to be like that. It started and it maybe was there briefly, but it has gotten a lot worse. I mean, literally, marketing is everywhere. Advertising is everywhere. And I think that if we keep allowing these companies to just keep impeding our boundaries, one step at a time, eventually there's going to be ads like just in places that you never thought there'd be ads in, right? Like it's crazy. It's crazy. And I know that sounds insane, but I mean, it's getting to that point. I mean, they're starting to put ads. They're going, like, let me say this again. They are thinking about putting ads in a virtual world, a world that you go to maybe decompress from the day, that you go to have fun with your friends, that isn't even real. They're putting ads in that, right? It's not like you're watching a show and the show has a break and there's an ad for real life. It's literally an ad in something that's not even real. Like, to me, it's like I just don't even understand that. Like, it's like buying a book, okay? It's like going and buying a book and putting an ad in the book. Like, you can't change the page in a physical copy of a book until you watch the ad or until you see the ad, or there's like a little side banner in your book that has an ad. And the thing is, I've never even owned like a Kindle or like a tablet book or anything like that. Like I have an iPad, but I don't read on there. I don't know if there's ads on those apps. There probably are, but that's literally like going and taking a physical book and putting an ad in the book. Like, that's crazy, right? That's insane. You don't like, it's like, why is that there? It shouldn't be there. This is exactly the same case. I don't think that this is something that they should be doing. So I'd like to hear your comments below. This is a lot shorter of a podcast. Normally do about a 30-minute podcast, but since Joe is not here, I'm not going to just talk for 30 minutes. So let me know what you think down in the comments. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to see some feedback that you guys have, what you think about it. But yeah, you can check out all our social links below as well. Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, and you can check out my main YouTube channel, BroadwayGotThis.com, down below as well. But thank you again for watching. You guys have faith to be great, and we'll see you on the next episode.